scheduled council meeting for Monday, May 13th, 2019. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Maldonado. Walker.
Yes.
Vasquez. Garcia.
Present.
Orange.
Present.
Medina.
Present.
Perez. Monroe.
Present.
Francisco.
Present. For the record, I did get a call from Councilwoman Maldonado. She is under the weather, and Councilman Perez is out of town. First thing on the agenda is to call to order the public hearing. It is ordinance 19-0007. Do we have someone to speak on this?
Good evening, Myra Costa, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Do we have any questions for Director Acosta?
Yes. Do you have,
Councilman Garcia?
thank you, Mr. President. Do you have a start date for the Nunez Trail?
As soon as we get the funds and we get the purchase orders, they should be able to start this year.
How about the fencing at Nunez Park?
Same thing.
Same thing. I passed by last week. I see they put like one barrier to stop the sand from blowing, but they should have put it on the whole property because there's even sand blowing. But I know they put it on one piece of the property. Can you make sure they put some of that barrier on the whole property so that sand will quit blowing to the residential area?
Yes.
That's it, Mr. President.
Councilman Monroe?
Thank you. Installing these shelters, where are you going to put them at now?
For the shelters, I would like to have an extra one at Roxana Park.
Okay.
The greenhouse, we also want to do a patio area for the residents to come to eat their lunch or to sit down and relax, so we want to have a shelter there. We also need the concrete at the MLK Park to be done, that hasn't been finished. And we also would like to fix the roof over here at Veterans Park Pavilion. That one's flying everywhere and needs to be repaired.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Orange?
Where's the soccer field going at Markstown?
Markstown is going on the big park, what they call the big park. So it's a very large open area.
Is that where the old baseball, softball is?
Correct, yes. And last year we had one of the colleges come out, and actually St. Joseph College, they came and they rented that area for soccer specifically.
Any other questions? Thank you. I now open up the podium to see who is for or against ordinance 19-0007. I'm closing the public hearing portion of the meeting. We are now going to start our regular scheduled meeting. I have a motion to accept the minutes for the regular scheduled meeting on Monday, April 22nd, 2019.
So move, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes. Do we have any communications from the mayor? Any communications from department heads?
Yes. Accounts payable warrant 05119CC, 051319CC, 051319LA, 051719CC, 051319ED, 050319CC, and 042319CC.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilman Monroe, to accept accounts payable warrants as read. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia,
No.
Orange,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Payroll warrant bi-weekly 050319, 041819, 032219.
Where's that at?
So move to accept bi-weekly.
I get a second?
Second, Mr. President.
Motion was made by Councilman Medina, seconded by Councilman Garcia, to accept payroll warrant bi-weekly as read.
Yes, Mr. President, was that all, 1, 2, 3, 4, was that all 5?
Oh,
warrants?
just the three that she read was the bi-weeklies. The
Okay.
other one is a payroll warrant miscellaneous, and the other one is payroll warrant monthly.
Gotcha, Mr. President, just want to make sure.
It says it, Brian, okay,
It's not in order, sir.
any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes, on bi-weekly.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Payroll warrant miscellaneous 050319.
So move, Mr. President. Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe, to accept payroll warrant miscellaneous 050319. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Payroll warrant monthly 050119.
So move, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Medina, to accept payroll warrant monthly 050119. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes. Do we have any committee reports? Moving on to board reports. Do we have any board reports? Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances on first reading?
No.
Do we have any ordinances on second reading?
Yes, ordinance 19-0007, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, conditional appropriation ordinance, New Chicago Parks and Recreation Fund, park improvement.
So move in second and third reading, Mr. President.
It was second and third? I'm sorry.
Second and third reading.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Medina, to hear ordinance 19-0007 on second and third reading. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Ordinance 19-0008, sponsor Councilwoman Gilda Orange, Councilman Kenneth Monroe, an ordinance establishing a truancy court, furthering parental responsibility for school attendance within the city of Chicago.
Councilwoman Orange?
Mr. President, I'm making a motion to table this ordinance. On advice from council, we had a second ordinance that came in under this same premise, but it was supposed to add in some additional information. The people that did help draft that ordinance drafted it wrong, and also added stuff that the attorney is not clear should even be in there. So both attorneys, attorney for the school board and Ms. Attorney Buscemi is going to look it over, and we will bring it back at the next meeting.
Second, Mr. President.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilman Garcia to table ordinance 19-0008. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franceschi.
Yes. Do we have any ordinances on third reading?
No.
Do we have any resolutions?
Yes, resolution 19-0007, sponsored Councilman Robert Garcia, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of East Chicago concerning a petition for use variation to permit the operation of a welding shop at 3715 Michigan Avenue.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Medina. Any discussion on the motion? Councilman Garcia?
Yes, can you explain it, please?
Yes, Marino Solorio, Planning and Economic Development Director. Basically, the reason why we had to come through the BZA process is that this establishment will be in a C3 district. When they created the map, they just kind of took a line and went all the way through Broadway. And so when Broadway kind of hits Michigan, this building here with the vacant piece of land is kind of like split between C3 and C2. And in a C2, this establishment would be allowed. Unfortunately, because it is in a C3 district, which is made for intense commercial development, this does not fall in line with that. And so therefore, had to go through the BZA process for approval.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes, Marino, in the future, if we get anything like this in the future, if you could add the councilman, whatever area that is, so we could go to the meeting when you do the mailers to the residents, also mail the council person, so we could attend that meeting when you have your BZA meeting. We could also attend also, because I didn't know nothing until I got a call last week reference this, but it makes us part of the process, and we could come to the BZA meeting and hear of the process, hear any residents' concerns and stuff like that. So if you could add us to that list also, I think we all greatly appreciate that.
Would you like me to just add all the councilmen, or just like who's ever within that jurisdiction plus the at-large?
Probably wouldn't be possible at all to just send the notice to all council members.
Okay.
Council members that have a specific interest can choose to attend the BZA.
Correct.
Okay, do that.
Yes.
Councilwoman Orange?
Usually, Marino, the owner of the properties usually come up, and if we have any questions, we're able to ask them. Is there a reason why this owner is not here tonight?
I'm not exactly sure. The person in my department that was handling this has left to move on to bigger and better things, so I'm not sure. I can follow up and find out why. They were told when I submitted the facts and findings that this will be going to the next council meeting, so I'm positive that the person was informed. I'm not, but I can verify for you. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer at the moment.
Do you at least have the findings or the recommendation of the BZA board? What was it?
I do, yes. And
Can
it
you
should
share
have,
that with us, please?
yes. Do you want me to just read it verbatim for the record?
That's fine.
The facts and findings for use variance 3715 Michigan Avenue, C3 North Harbor Business District. It's to permit a welding shop. Petitioner Ignacio Servin, owner of said property. The BZA's recommendation was an approval of 3-0 vote on March 25th, 2019. That was the hearing. The BZA voted to approve the petitioner's request for a use variance. I'm the one that followed through with the facts and findings. This approval will help improve a structure that is currently vacant. Approval will put the structure back to good use and align with surrounding businesses, which kind of is critical on this end, since there are other mechanic shops and kind of like welding and other in that kind of corridor. The approval of the petitioner's request land use will not have a negative impact on the value of adjacent properties due to the adjacent property currently being a mechanic shop. So kind of falls within that. Lastly, the present use does not allow, which is the C3 district, does not allow for a fabrication shop, hence the petition for the variance within a C3 zoning district, North Harbor Business District. The BZA has recommended the use variance which would allow for this use. Residents within the neighborhood did attend the hearing. There was no expression as to for or against the petition. However, there were questions that were asked and were answered in that meeting. The questions were satisfactorily answered. The petitioner representative answered that they will follow strict adherence to any and all conditions set forth by the Board of Zoning Appeals, and there were conditions on this, which are the following. You must have a 6-foot privacy fence on the adjacent lot. So there's a building and a vacant lot where he's going to use like to park his equipment, things like that. So we said that a minimum of 6-foot fence has to be put on that lot so that it's not obstructive, and for view purposes, people really kind of see something a little more aesthetically pleasing. Hours of operation can only be from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and anything within that. So they could operate 10 to 5, but no later than 6 p.m. because there's residential houses within that corridor, so we want to make sure we're mindful of that. Variance will follow the land unless it's lost or vacancy after 1 year. So if it's either fire, vacancy, whatever that is, it will revert back to the C3 district. So anyone that is looking to operate similar establishment would have to come back through the process. But if the person sold, say, and then within a year someone opened the same establishment, they wouldn't have to go through this process. And the owner must fix the facade because currently it needs some repair. So those are the facts and findings for this use variance.
Thank you. Councilwoman Orange?
What were some of the questions the residents asked?
One of them was, so a lot of times when we do these conditions, they're based on those questions. So one of the questions was, I have a house right next to the shop. How late are they going to be operating? And so that was a concern of a resident. Another thing was, is it going to be unsightly? What are they going to be using the lot for, the vacant lot? And then, just general comments like, well, we know the district in that area is kind of this type of business. We're just here, to kind of get our questions answered type of thing. And so that's why we put the condition of the 6-foot privacy fence to kind of help cope with the possible issue that could arise from having equipment or things like that that are really just not aesthetically pleasing. And then the hours of operation, because the gentleman did state that he didn't want really a lot of noise or anything like that. So those were the main questions.
Councilwoman Garcia? Councilman, I'm sorry.
Did you also refer them to the facade program since they need some facade work?
I did. So we did give them a facade application so that they're able to apply for that once this is approved.
Attorney Buscemi?
Yes, Mr. President, if the council's inclined to this use variance this evening, I recommend that the motion that is made for the record be to approve resolution 19-0007 for the use variance at 3715 Michigan Avenue with all 4 of the conditions recommended by the Board of Zoning Appeals. We want the conditions in the City Council's recommendation.
Councilman Garcia?
Attorney Buscemi, is the findings part of this also?
Yes, your whole record at the clerk's office, the City Council's records regarding resolution 19-0007 will be the resolution, these findings of fact sheet, which you have in your packet that Marino read, and then also the transmittal of the BZA recommendation. So there's 3 different documents that will be part of your records. It is the findings of fact that Marino read from that contain the 4 specific conditions for protection of the neighboring properties.
Councilman Garcia? Councilman Medina, I'm sorry.
the resolution I'm looking at has those four conditions listed.
Yes.
By adopting this resolution, that's automatically included. Am I correct?
Councilman, you are correct. Adoption of the resolution contains the four conditions explicitly, so there would be no reason to include that in the
You just,
pointing that out.
yeah, you just didn't charge us for that, right, for speaking like that? Okay, I just didn't know if you were trying to get it in right now, you know? But, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Walker,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franceschi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution passes. Do we have any old business? I believe we do have one letter that the clerk is going to read that is from the CSX rail. It was concerning about some of the idling from the trains on Walsh in the First District. Madam Clerk?
Dear Mr. Franceschi, I am writing in response to your March 26, 2019 letter to James Foote regarding the integration of Smart Start idle technology in CSX locomotives. Mr. Foote asked that I respond to your inquiry. Thank you for bringing your concern and suggestion to our attention. At CSX, we are committed to be responsive to the communication in which we operate, communities we operate. The letter was forwarded to our operations team, and local CSX transportation personnel are investigating options for inappropriate actions. Integration of new technology and equipment used on a Class 1 railroad is lengthy and regulated process. Among ensuring the safety of the surrounding communities and the operating crews, we must maintain that the interoperability of our equipment with that of our other railroads. For that purpose, initiating the use of new technology requires industry-wide testing and acceptance. CSX was the first railroad to join the Environmental Protection Agency's Climate Leaderships Program, pledging to publicly report its greenhouse gas emissions and establish a voluntary goal of emissions and reduction. According to the EPA, freight railroads account for less than 3% of the U.S. greenhouse gas emissions from transportation sources and well under 1% of the greenhouse gas emissions from all sources. To this end, you will find plenty of new technology and complex processes that are making trains quieter, more energy efficient, and more environmentally friendly than ever before. We appreciate the time you have taken to share your concerns and suggestions with us. Please feel free to share future suggestions with us through our Community Affairs Center, TEL CSX. They may be reached via email at telcsx@csx.com. Sincerely, Tom Livingston, Head of State and Community Affairs.
So any of my colleagues that want the email address while they're looking into the matter, again, please see the clerk and she will get you that info.
Can you give me a copy of that letter also, please?
Attorney
President,
Boucher.
just the council members will recall this as a matter of record. You adopted this resolution and you asked both railroads specifically to take the steps to implement the Smart Start idle reduction technology in order to reduce environmental pollutants. That's good that CSX responded to your resolution, but in the resolution that was read into the record, I heard nothing in that letter promising to initiate the idle reduction technology. It was simply a letter that, among other things, said that freight railroads aren't the bad guys for the environment. They only emit 3% of all the greenhouse gas emissions.
Do we have any other old business, Councilman Garcia?
Yes, I believe at that last meeting, I asked our secretary to send a letter to the police chief reference to get crime stats for 2018. I have not got a call back. trying to get crime stats for 2018, then also for the first quarter. I don't see why I haven't got a response back. Also, Attorney Buscemi, on the shot spotter information, have you got any information that we requested?
Councilman and members of the council, at the request of Councilman Garcia, I submitted on behalf of the council a request to the police department, specifically to the chief, requesting that data regarding that's been gathered thus far from the city's use of the shot spotter technology be provided, and Councilman, to date I've received no response from the chief.
Can you send them a second response? Thank you.
Have any other old business? Councilwoman Orange?
Steve, have you got anything back from Mr. Bennett on any dates for for us to discuss the budget?
I have not, but I have not pressed the issue.
Start pressing, Steve.
I can press the issue and get that meeting set.
Councilman Garcia?
Just on that note, just don't forget to include the judge on that too.
Any other old business? Moving on to new business, do we have any new business? Councilman Medina?
Mr. President, and colleagues, recently I was approached by some of the residents on the 143rd block of Elm Street, those that live right across the street from the emergency room. And this has been an ongoing problem for quite some time, the parking in that area. I believe we adopted no parking in front of the ER, but the ambulances come by numbers, and ambulances end up parking there. But that's not the problem. The problem is across the street, the residents' side, which people visiting the ER are parking there. They're blocking driveways. It's really cluttered there. Even when some of the semis and delivery trucks come, the loading dock is right adjacent to the ER, and they completely block Elm Street from any traffic going north or south. And back when I was a patrolman, I recall having some of those trucks move, and they would complain, why should I move? I said, well, if the ambulance was to come either from the north or from the south, they would be blocked. Those are vital minutes that could save somebody's life. I would like the street department to poll the residents on the 143rd block of Elm Street, and perhaps we could adopt an ordinance prohibiting any parking just on that one section of Elm Street, so that there would be more room for the ambulances to come and go, so that the residents that have driveways there can exit their driveways without having to call the police, because people, again, coming to the ER are blocking their driveways. This has been a problem for a long time, and trying to think of things to do, I believe that may be the only solution. But I would like to hear from the rest of the residents there, if we could get the street department again to either by letter or in person, poll those residents there and see if they're in favor of that. Because I do believe that each one of those households has a driveway, which is sufficient for the homeowner. And that would alleviate a lot of problem and make the ambulances that are coming in to the ER a lot safer for them, and they could do it in a much more timely fashion.
I'll make sure I get the information to Secretary Ochoa. She had a emergency this evening, but I'll make sure she gets everything and sends that to the street department.
Yeah, have them do a study, if you will.
Okay. Councilwoman Orange?
I'd also like to piggyback on that one, Councilman Medina. But we should also send a letter to St. Catherine's, because that's part of their problem. I've noticed they've been building quite a lot at Buster Community. They have not done any thing to alleviate any type of traffic. The city has helped the St. Catherine's, which they are a great partner of ours, but they have helped them by cutting off most of the street on Grand Boulevard going down their way to add parking for them. And I think it'd be, that we need to send a letter to St. Catherine's asking them to help us with that problem. Because the residents, like you said, can park in the driveways, but there is no specific parking. It's say right now, if you go to Munster Community, they tell you where you can and cannot park for emergency rooms and all of that, and that's the way it should be. And when people come into the emergency room, they should be alerted that you cannot park on that residential street. So I think we need help from St. Catherine's also on that.
I'll make sure I let, Ms. Choa know to send that letter. Councilman Garcia?
Yes, I just want to remind the council and everybody else that we still have 4 students that's going to West Point at the end of this month. They're still doing fundraising. There's a possibility they're going to be cooking meals at the Eels, the Borinquen, this Saturday, but they're still collecting funds to send these kids to West Point. So,
Any other new business? Moving on to public expression. Madam Clerk, do we have any? A motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Medina, seconded by Councilwoman Orange. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes.
Garcia,
yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes, good night.